Alright guys, welcome back to some more Super Dragon Ball Heroes content. In this one we have the two final EZAs out of all the units I do have to round out the Heroes EZAs, and I'm going to be combining both of them together with the SSJ3 Xeno Gotenks and also the SSJ3 Gohanks. The reason why I'm using them both together is number one, their kit is pretty much the exact same. The only difference is their either or condition for their built-in additionals, which is Gotenks is they need to be stun or sealed, whereas Gohanks is they need to have their attack lowered or defense lowered, and even then it's an either or condition. You don't even need to do those things. Other than that, their kit is the exact same. The other reason why is because, in my opinion, they are two of the worst EZAs out of this entire batch, and I have next to no hope for either of them, so I thought, why not run them together? I'm pretty sure the first time I used these guys, I ran them together. But Gotenks is starting with 198k attack stat, 113k defense. Gohanks is currently floating, so he'll be here very, very soon, don't worry. But on super attack, they both greatly raise attack and defense by 50% for one turn. They can lower the enemy. 4.26 is so low to start with, but they do build up their passive. So I'll wait. 5.1, that's 2 super attacks. We need to do 5 in total. 3, they are both 55% in the dupe system. Not level 10 links, as I mentioned in previous videos, but they are both 55%. I mean, we're already 4 super attacks deep, which, I mean, that's a pretty good starting turn, I guess, which means we only need to super attack one more time. And Gotenks' passive is built up. They are starting with 150% attack and defense. They do gain 150% attack on super, and they do build up 30% attack and defense with each super attack performed up to 150%, which is why I said Gotenks literally only has to super attack one more time, and he's already done, which is great. They both launch 2 additional super attacks guaranteed when there is another crossover category ally attacking in the same turn, which I think is good. That's like the only good part of their passive. Like, I think that part is very good. Or when a target enemy is stunned or sealed, and then Gohanks is when their attack or defense has been lowered. And then they both perform guaranteed crits when there is another Super Saiyan 3 category ally attacking in the same turn. Which, I'm not going to lie, when it comes to heroes and crossover category units, we're not getting any new ones. Super Saiyan 3 Goku is still quite solid, so I mean, he's an option, and both of these guys are options to each other. So Gohanks is an option to Gotenks, Gotenks is an option to Gohanks. The only thing is, and I said this while I read through their details the other day when we had the data download, is they both don't look very good. So you're probably not going to run them anyway. If we're being realistic, if I'm being brutally honest, you're probably not going to run these two. Let alone run them together to get themselves their guaranteed crit. But Gohanks, before he's had any build up, is starting with a 206k attack stat, 118k defense. Gotenks is up to a 443k attack stat, 257k defense, and he's almost fully built up. But they just don't have anything going for them, like, at all. This is probably going to do a ton of damage. We don't die, but this is going to hurt. Yeah, 390. 133 on an all. I didn't realize there was 2. I thought there was only 1 attack. We should be fine for the rest of this, but we are borderline dead. And we're borderline dead because I wanted both of these together. I mean, there's 3 build-ups in his passive. He only needs to do 2 more. But they don't have a lot going for them. And there's Gotenks' final build-up. Like, sure, they can super attack 3 times in one turn. That's good. They can do pretty solid overall damage in one turn between them, sure. But from what I'm seeing, you're looking at like 6-7 million attack stats once they're fully built up, and then the most you'll get up to is 9. Now, the combined amount of damage from like a 6-7 mil attack stat to like a 9 million attack stat is decent. Again, for the caliber of unit this is, for the caliber of EZA, they are. That's solid. It's not insane or anything. It's not sick. You know, it's solid. And I get, you know, these heroes EZAs, they're not on the level of like Dokkan Fest EZAs and those kind of things. I wish they were still a bit better than they actually are. especially with this being the final celebration. And just naturally, I'd rather them age or have a longer lifespan than they usually do. But unfortunately, that's just not the case. And it's definitely not the case with Gohanks and Gotenks. Like, I don't see you using these two in any difficult content. In any of the most difficult content in the game, which are usually the testing grounds for new EZAs and new units, I don't see these two getting used in the slightest. They're just not good enough. They don't do enough damage. For what we're used to currently in the game, they don't do enough. Like, sure, they can both super attack 3 times in 1 turn. I'm going to pop the Usher because otherwise we're dead. We're dead. They can both super attack 3 times in 1 turn. That's a 50% attack and defense raise on every single super attack they do. So sure, the normals of a lot of the harder enemies in the game, they'll probably tank just fine. I think the hardest hitting enemies, which I mean, you're looking at like 750k and above on a normal, I feel like may start to hurt them a little bit, especially if they don't have type advantage, or maybe they're not type neutral, which obviously means they're not runnable. They're not competable or viable for the most difficult content, which I'm not saying all of these heroes EZAs have to be, but I wouldn't even take these guys into Red Zone Kid Buu. So this is what I mean. I kind of wish the last Heroes EZAs, or at least not the last Heroes EZAs, the last celebration with these Heroes EZAs, and even in general, to be fair, I wish they had a longer window of how long we get to use them. Gotenks and Gotenks don't even have a window. Like, we're not using them anywhere. The only place they're going to have some usability is going to be Super Battle Road and ESBR. And that is when it comes to the heroes or crossover category missions, which even then, in my opinion, that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind that. Even then, I think there's a ton of better choices to be used than these two units. Like, even if we pull up the heroes category, I'm going to do this right now. Even if we pull up the heroes category, I'd rather use, there is EZA SSJ3 Vegito, there's Limit Breaker Vegito, SSJ3 Xeno Goku, there's EZA Silas, there is also the likes of Janemba Modified and Golden Metal Cooler, who are yet to get Dokkan Awakenings, which hopefully happens this year. There's SSJ3 Gohan, even God Trunks, who is bang average at best. You have both Xeno Goku and Vegeta. There is also Crimson Mask, the SSJ3 Rose. There's both the Limit Breaker SSJ4 Goku and Vegetas. There's Hearts. There's Demon King Vegeta. Or is it Demon King? Dark Mask King. There's the Great Saiyaman 3 and 4s. Because one of them count as a ton. It's just a lot of fun. Yes, this one, Great Saiyaman 3. That's a ton of units I'd rather use above them. That's a full team and a bench. That's almost a football team's worth. And they have a ton of categories outside of heroes and crossover, but they don't have a place on them teams. So I said the best place you're going to be running these two, because they are so bad, is SBR or ESBR, and even then there are a ton of other options you can use over them. But I don't know, as I said, I wish these heroes EZAs had a longer lifespan than they have, because, well, for example, with these two, they just don't have one, because they're just not good enough. I'd have liked to have seen them at least be competable in some of the most difficult content. They don't have to demolish it, but at least be runnable. You keep them safe, you can manage it. Not that they don't even get through, you know, they don't even have entry, they don't even have right to come in, do you know what I mean? So I think it's a little bit of a shame, but maybe I'm being a bit too harsh. You can let me know down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great rest of your day, and peace.